press the bell icon on the YouTube app and never miss another update.
Hello students, today we are going to continue with the next remaining portion that we had dealt in the lesson socialization. We had discussed about the introduction and certain functions which help us in the process of socialization. Why we need to talk, why we need to gather, why we need to mingle, why we need to have a community, why we need to have people around us. So today's class we're going to focus on the agencies of socialization. Agencies are different means. Now when you want to buy maybe clothes, okay, when you want to buy clothes, so don't you go to different stores? So there are different stores of the same thing. What is the same thing there? The clothes that are there. So when there is many stores for the same thing, you have many choices. When we are transforming into a social being, and when we are going into the process of socialization also, we have different groups that we come across. We have different groups that we encounter and learn from. So one such basic agency is family. After that it is our friends, and then it moves on. We'll study all that today. But now I want you to understand two major influences of socialization. As in to say, when you are going into the process of socialization, there are certain kinds of influences that happen. Major influence is, okay, your age, your experience, and the influence of the elders. That is how you have come in contact with your elders. Or what do your elders teach you at that time? So your age determines. Now if you are a 3-year-old, you cannot be learning what you are of a 13-year-old, isn't it? So age matters, your experience matters, because as you are learning, your experience also grows. And when you are doing all that, first you have your influence of the family, and then it moves on. Now this is basic in the house, and age and experience will continue. Yet there is the second aspect, that is influence of peer group. Peer group is your friend circle. Okay, your friend circle, that is. Alright, your friends, peers. Now everybody, people of your own age, okay, when you mingle with them, you have your influence from them also. You learn from them, isn't it? Now when you are at home, you have friends who are in your neighborhood, isn't it? Now when they form your friendship group, after a certain age you come to school, and then you have more friends. So as you are moving to different classes, you have more friends, or the same friends continue in the same class. So that's your peer group. Alright. Now this first group that is there, okay, age, experience and influence elders, who is included in that? I'll write one again, so add it over here. Alright, who is included here? Your parents, okay, your grandparents or elders, and your teachers. Okay, so who is included over here? Your parents, elders, anybody elder to you, and your teachers, because of the influence you have in school. Here it is your house, here it is your extended family or anybody in the neighborhood. Alright. Now the second group involves, okay, the second group involves who are involved in this? people of the same age group. That is, I told you, now your friends in your class, you are of the same age. People in your neighborhood, some may be of the same age, some may be 1 year older, some may be 2 years younger, okay, that differs. But if you are in the same class, most of you are of the same age, alright, same age group, and that is your friends. Second influence of the peer group, either you have people of your own age or it is your friends, okay. Now, we will go to the agencies of socialization now and understand what is important. The first agency is family. Okay, the first agency is family. Now your basic interaction, that is your first interaction, happens with your family and nowhere else, isn't it? When you're born, you're brought into your family and that's where you start learning, and then you encounter school and your friends all come later. So parents here are direct blood relatives. Okay, then your extended family comes. So basic whose influence you have, your father and your mother, that's your parents. Next, parents teach you what to do. Both father and mother teach you what is the right behavior that you should show, what is wrong in your way, how you should learn, how you should walk, how you should talk. Everything is taught there. Okay, now let's see what's being taught. Your behavior is being taught. Okay, your custom, practices, traditional practices that are there. Okay, your traditions and customs, they come together. You try to understand properly now, traditions, and then any activities that you are involved in, or any activities of the family together, all this is being taught. See now, behavior, we discussed how you need to behave, or how you need to showcase yourself, how you need to do some things in a certain time, how you should not be doing certain things there. Alright, your customs, practices and traditions. Each family has their own beliefs, has their own traditions. So it's being passed on from generation to generation, and that's how you also pass it on to the next generation, and that keeps the traditions lively. Now celebrating festivals maybe, or each family has their own deity that they worship, so that festival is celebrated. Then there are other things that they celebrate, maybe some things in general. So every family's activities differ and every family's traditions differ. So that's how they teach you all these things. Now the interaction of your parents deeply influences your emotional development. Okay, now how your parents interact with you, or what kind of environment they give you, leads to your development or influences your development. How you grow, how you take on things, okay, how you portray your emotions, or are they giving you restrictions as to not show certain kind of emotions or no. So everything depends on how you grow your personality, how you take your their words, and how you react. Moving on and understanding what family can do and how it can influence you in a way. All right. Now, continue the point. I told you everything is learned there first. So what do you learn? All your behaviors, okay, and you learn values. Values are love, care, okay, your faith that you have, your belief, your practices that you do, your cooperation and coordination. So all is learned there because there are people involved. Now when you live in a joint family, cooperation and coordination is the most needed because there are many people living there. In a nuclear family, I don't say it's easy, but yet when there are less members, communication is a little easier than what's in the joint families. So everybody has their own ways, okay. We cannot be judging, I cannot be judging, or you cannot be judging this family is like this family is that. No, they understand it in their own ways, and my family may not be like yours, yours may not be like the other person. So we cannot judge according to one situation. All right. Now parents encourage you to go to your activities. Now if you have known, when you are in your lower KG classes, they send you to fancy dress competitions, they send you to singing, drawing, every possible competition that is conducted by the school. Why do they do that? They encourage you to go to those activities so that you understand that participation is also important than winning. Don't they tell you, have they ever told you that participate, go and participate, try it? That is why they encourage you to do all these activities in your initial ages. Then when you go to your later classes, you take the interest and go. Now parents have their own authority at home, and elders, grandparents have their own authority, parents have their own authority, children have their own responsibilities at home. So next we will move on to the peer group and understand what influence the peer group has on you. Peer group is your friend circle, isn't it? Your people of the same age or your friends that are there. Now this is also the most important agency. You need friends, isn't it? Friends are really important. Friends, very important agency of socialization. Alright? Now, who are included in this? People of the same age, your other friends, your classmates, or your friends who you play with around. So everybody basically who is surrounding you or who you are involved with, of similarly of your age or a little elder, a little younger to you, the people who you gather with, who you are comfortable with, form the peer group. Now, what do you learn here? You learn behaviors even here. You learn social behaviors here. See, when you mingle with your friends, how you deal it in your family is entirely different what you do with your friends, isn't it? So what you do with your friends, you don't do at home. What you do at home, you don't do with your friends, because friends are of the same age, it's easy to understand, it's easy to mingle, it's easy to surround around, all right. But when we have a large age gap in the family, it is a little difficult. Now, yet there is authority there. Here there is understanding. In the peer group there is understanding and there is sharing. So this, they teach you how. Now see, when you are playing around, you are playing in the playground there near your neighborhood. When you gather every day, when you meet every day, in case there is something that's happened there, and you gather together and discuss what is to be done. So all these are experiences that you learn. All these are things that help you grow. So transformation happens in the family from birth, but when you come out and join with your friends, there is a transformation, or there is a change that is taking place. Okay, so this is peer group. You want to understand this is peer group. Now you can understand it better because you relate it to your peer group and understand. Relate to your friends. Now you may not be able to meet all your friends, yet when you had time to meet them, or earlier when you had met them, think of the examples that you were involved in, what you had done, where did you go to play, what did you play. Now even if you have to play a game, if your group knows 3-4 games together, even if you have to play a game, you decide, isn't it, which one we should play, and then there is a division of groups and other things. So that's how you learn. Now when you're dividing your groups and when you're deciding on playing, you are learning the art of making decisions. You are understanding how you have to divide your responsibilities. So there is learning everywhere in all walks of life. Next agency of socialization is religion. Now everybody has their own religion to practice, and it's created by the society of dividing people according to religion. But what you learn here is certain traditions that you have, okay, your faith that you want to give. We'll write it down. Alright, you have your faith in religion. Okay. Now when you have faith, or when you are associated with it, you act accordingly to that religion, or you act according to the traditions of that religion. If something is not, if you have fully accepted your religion and what do I say, if you are fully devoted, okay, fully devoted to your religion, and then you take their practices seriously, you follow it. You are not bound to do anything else, and you don't accept of anything that's happening around you. But that should not happen. You should be open to anything that's happening around you and open to all religions. So ultimately, see, now when you play with your friends, do you check which religion he belongs to? No, the friendship is important, isn't it? Our game is important and we are playing it. So that's how, but yet it teaches you how to believe, how to make your traditions. Though we've not seen God, we still believe that He's somewhere around us, isn't it? That's the belief that every religion has, and they understand that God helps you in ways. So everything that happens around us is also a belief that we have. Now they learn. Now when you have a traditional or a religious festival that is there, when your family gathers together, you learn to do those activities. So religious activities are also a part of the family, isn't it? And then you learn what are the things to be done, what are things not to be done, and those learnings can be implemented somewhere else. All right. So religious activities. Okay. Now you perform certain rituals. All right. Now every religion has their own way to do it. Let's not get much deeper into it because it's a general way of understanding what religion is. Basically it teaches you faith, and when you do those activities, it teaches you certain behaviors that are acceptable and not acceptable. Now next we will go to the most important part you like, school. Okay, this is the place you enjoy, isn't it? So this is the place you learn, this is the place you enjoy. Now let's see what are the main factors. See, most of your time is spent in school, not now, but understand on the other hand, if everything was normal, you spend most of your time in school, isn't it? You come in the morning, you go by evening, and the time that you spend at home is very less compared to what you spend in school. Because when you have just begun your lower KGs and when you come to your first grade or second grade, and then when you move on, school becomes a part of your life, and because of the hours spent there, your learning is more there, and your influence of your teachers and others around you in the school is more in those years of your education that you do. Alright? Now, here you can have your influence. Okay, you can be influenced by your teachers. That's what I told you. Your teachers, people surrounding you. There may be other elders in school or other people in school who can help you, who you talk to every day. All right. Then your friends who are there in your class, your classmates. Then people of the other class. So this is how you talk to. This is how you relate. This is how you play together. Now on a sports day you compete with your classes, isn't it? And that teaches you unity, that teaches you that our class should win. How do you get it? How do you gather all people deciding that he should play that, she should play that? Because you are understanding that we have to participate, we have to compete. Our class unity is important. Alright? So this is all that you learn here. Now you are influenced by your teachers, your classmates. Now all your classmates may not be your best friends, isn't it? All your classmates, now if you are, imagine if you 50 of them in the class. Now all 50 of them will not be your best friends. Maybe few of them will be your best friends. But the rest of them will be always your classmates. Yet you talk to them, isn't it? You talk to them whenever you need anything, you ask them anything, you laugh together, you enjoy together. But when your days go by, when you pass out, yet they remain your classmate, but some are bonded well and you take them as friends. And now understand these friends, not only of your class but people of the other classes too. Alright? Now, whatever behavior you have learned, that is social behavior, when you are at home or in your neighborhood, okay? Your social behavior, your knowledge that you learn, and the experience that you have when you move on and transform. Okay? All, see, now certain behaviors are taught in the house, isn't it? Certain behaviors are learnt. Certain, you have some knowledge of certain knowledge, you have some knowledge of certain things that are there. And when you are having knowledge, when you are putting it into practice, you have your experiences. Now the school takes everything and it molds you, it transforms you into a better person. Now this is molded or transformed by education. So that's how you become mature. If you have seen yourself when you were in first grade and if you have seen yourself in 9th grade or 8th grade, there is a difference, isn't it? The difference of transformation of your mind, of your understanding. Okay? Not, don't take about physical transformation, but understanding things about your behavior. Now, the mind is also developed. You are learning many things in school, you are getting influenced by people in school, so you are automatically learning some things. Now, have you seen small children, if you have little kids at home, whatever the teacher teaches them is the final thing. They wouldn't accept anything that the parents say at home. because the child has taken the teacher to be the major influence when it has gone to school. So there is a difference that happens. Okay. Now, the subconscious capacity that is you understanding things and remembering things there is also developed. Okay, basically where you store your images, you store your memory there, and sometimes it is just retained without your knowledge, sometimes with your knowledge. All right. Now, the teacher is very important in school. How he or she deals with you, how he or she treats you, how he or she teaches you is all very important for the transformation process. Now, what does see, some students take certain teachers to be their role models. You have your favorite teachers, isn't it? Or why do you have that? Because you like something in them. Now, even I have had favorite teachers, I have liked something in them. Everybody has their own teacher whom they like very much. Now, why do we like them? Because of certain values, or because of certain things that they have told us, because of because of the way they teach us, so because of the way they understand us. So that's how we relate to our teacher. Now, when I told you we spend most of your time in school, it is understood that you are spending most of your time with your teachers. So teachers play a major role here in the school and the education system. Now, students find certain things, okay, like positive aspects or good behaviors of the teachers likable. That is, see, now certain expressions teachers show you. Good behavior, that is they are soft, they are good, they are kind, they are understanding. Okay. Equality, they see all the students as one. Okay, everybody is equal in the class. Anything happens, she's there or he's there for everybody. All right. And goodwill. Okay, a kind heart to help each other. Now, if your teacher shows good behavior, if the teacher shows equality among everybody in the class, she or she has a kind heart, is helpful, is understanding. Now, all these behaviors will also be reflected with the students. All right. Now, this will reflect in the students. Now, have you seen the mirror? The mirror shows what you do. Now, if you are waving a hand like this, the mirror will also wave the hand like this. Okay, that's your reflection that's there. So, in the same way, students are a reflection of the teacher. The teacher influences you to do certain things, just like your parents in the beginning. Here it's your teachers who show you certain behaviors, and then you take it and then you learn it from them. That's how you like them, and that's how you bond well. Now, what does the child learn when the teacher is cooperative, when the teacher is understanding, or when the teacher shows good behavior? Okay, everything comes under good behavior, all right. This kind heart, helpful, being nice, no partiality, all that comes under good behavior. So, what behaviors can be seen in the child are, the child develops love. Okay, it understands that it has to love. The teacher shows his or her love to you by caring for you, isn't it? By looking after you in your school hours. So you also learn that you will have to love one another around you. Cooperation. The teacher teaches you cooperation. When you have a program together as a class, he or she teaches you that you will have to cooperate with each other in order to participate or do something. Tolerance, your patience that is there. Okay, not to get angry very soon. understand things, okay? So the solutions are understood. The child learns all this: tolerance, co-living, okay, living together, understanding that other person is also important, and staying together. Now in the class of 50 we are co-living, we are understanding each human being and staying together with them. Respect, you respect your teachers, the teachers respect you, and your teacher teaches you to respect each one around you. Alright, now these are certain kinds of values. There are many, can be helpful nature, alright, can be kind behavior. So you just, this is all coming in the same aspect that is there. The teacher also gives motivation, okay, he or she encourages you, encouragement, okay, for certain activities that are there in school. He or she encourages you for certain activities that are there in school. So today we have studied, students, family, peer group, religion and school. So it was a very easy concept, isn't it? You could relate it to yourself and understand. Now that you are with your family, okay, you have your peer group, you are belonging to a certain religion, you're also associated with school, so you can understand and relate it better. Take your own examples to understand it better. So I'll start with the students now, and in the next class we're going to talk about mass media, neighborhood, and then we will go on to gender and socialization. With that we can wind up the lesson socialization that is there. Alright, thank you students, and read what we have done today.